Welcome back to Surviving and Thriving, where we share with you the things that we have learned as we have transitioned our family from struggling to survive disease to thriving, right smack dab in the midst of it, in the hopes that something that we share with you will help you, enlighten you, and encourage you as you transition your family from struggling to survive disease to thriving, right smack dab in the midst of it. Going through and facing and overcoming and conquering health challenges, chronic illness, disease can bring about a lot of things. Depending upon what you're dealing with, this may or may not apply to you, but when you're dealing with severe things, serious, everything is serious. I don't want to belittle anything that anyone's going through, but there's a more critical aspect to certain things that some people deal with, where others may be dealing with chronic illness or disease and it doesn't have a critical aspect to it. But if you are overcoming and facing something, or your family member is, and it has a critical aspect to it, this might be helpful for you. It is oftentimes there could be some very traumatic experiences that you go through when you're dealing with disease, chronic illness. And it can be very traumatizing, right? You hear about people who go off to war and they come back with post-traumatic stress. Well, post-traumatic stress goes a little bit beyond war, right? When you're facing some things in life, especially when you're dealing with chronic illness and disease, you can really deal with some post-traumatic stress. You hear people joke about people who've been in war and how they're a little shell-shocked. Well, life can shell shock you, but disease and chronic illness can shell shock you as well. And so that's something important that we all need to actually realize and understand. Because if you don't recognize that and realize it and understand it, you're going to have some serious difficulties, and it can actually tear your family apart. What we don't want in life is for our families to be ripped apart because of situations. Because there's still love there. It's a family that should still be intact. People end up going their separate ways, don't even really understand why they're divorced. It's just the weight and the pressure of it all. And there's still that love there. So don't let nothing come and tear down your house and tear down your family, especially chronic illness or disease. But everybody in the family is affected. I've talked about this on a lot of different videos, but there's one that's entitled, Everybody is Affected in the Family, and you can go back and watch that. But everybody is affected. Even the animals are affected, right? Children can be traumatized by some of the things that we go through to see their parents in the hospital. If you're passing out and falling out all over the place, and your kids are there seeing that can do a lot to some little bitties, right? It's really hard for them to handle. They have to see you throwing up or bleeding or going through surgeries or being pulled out. I remember being pulled out by an ambulance, and my husband wasn't home, and my children were with me, and I think my oldest was 7 at the time, and just seeing her scream at the top of her head, and I got babies crying all around me, and they're trying to wheel me out, and I got to get somebody to come and get my children, right? It was a crazy situation, but that can be very traumatizing. Sometimes they don't have to see something drastic. They don't have to see something that's scary like that. Just the mere fact that you're in the hospital and you're away can be very dramatic and traumatizing for children. I know my children responded in different ways when I was hospitalized, and it was really hard for them. And so when I was conscious and when I was able to, and in my mind, right, I would try to talk to them every day as much as possible. But even when I got home, it was months and months and months of trying to get them to adjust. And the hard part is when you're out and then you're back in a week later, you're out and you're back in the next day, and you're in for the hospital for a while, then you're out and you're constantly going back and forth. That can do a lot to your children. So you got to be really careful and watch them, because you don't want them to shut down. And everybody deals with trauma differently. The key thing about this, whether it's your children, whether it's you or your loved ones or your spouse, is not to judge people for the way that they deal with it. We have to learn how to love people and get help for people and support people as they go through the trauma of it, and then the healing and the coming back to being stable on the inside, right? Now, these things that we deal with, you guys, can affect all of us, kids, adults, the person going through, the loved ones, for many, many, many years to come. It affects you in the way that you respond to things, the way you think about things, and it can have good and positive effects. It can cause people to become more fearful. It can cause people to be healthier, so that's a good thing. But even sometimes when people are doing a good thing like eating healthier, taking better care of their body, it could be because of a fear. And we never want fear to drive anything in our lives. We want to be able to do stuff from a place of consciousness, awareness, soundness, right? And because it's a goal and an aim, that we're making a conscious decision, not because of fear, but because of that inner strength, that inner ambition, because of who you are, and because you're making a right decision, but just not based out of fear. Anytime you do things based out of fear, fear brings a lot of stuff in your body, and even though you're going for right things, it can still cause you to make missteps, bad decisions, and not see clearly. So you never want to act or move out of fear. But these things can affect us, you guys, for a long, long, long time. So what I want to tell you about all of this is, number one, don't judge people by how they respond or how they are trying to process and deal with. The best thing you can do is love them, give them time and space, and help equip them with the tools that they need to get through. Now, if you're not able to do that, you can help them to get access to those who can help equip them with the tools that they need to be able to get through. But it's important to understand that everybody even if your whole family go through one big thing. It's a big hospital thing. You guys are fighting for somebody's life. You guys made it, that person made it through. Everybody's going to respond differently. On the onset of whatever that critical moment was, some people are going to flick out. It's going to be way too much for them to handle emotionally. They may flick out through that whole process and have to back up because they can't handle it. Some people will flick out for a minute and gather themselves and be able to go through it. Others will make it through it like a champ. They're able to hold up under the weight. They feel the weight, but they're not so much aware. I don't know how to explain it, but you feel it. You know it's there. You feel the weight of it. You're carrying the weight of it, but you're so focused on what needs to be done that you're not really feeling it emotionally. That's not really a good way to say. You do feel it emotionally, but you're not flicking out. You rise under stress. Some people rise under pressure, rise under stress, and they can stay calm and make it through it. But what happens is, you guys, sometimes those people, when it's all said and done, right? They may have to go from battle to battle. I know I've had to go to battle to battle, to battle to battle, to battle to battle. And then when things look good and things seem to be doing good, emotions can get crazy. And now they're feeling the weight and the pressure of everything that they have been going through. So we've got to understand that people go through and have emotions and deal with things differently at different times and at different levels. So what we need to understand is, if when you're going through a health issue, sometimes you can be the one that just flicks out, right? And your loved ones, parents, children, spouses are holding you up, right? And then you get out of it, you're strong, you're better, and now they're flicking out. Well, like they held you up, you've got to hold them up, right? And then you can't be like, well, I went through it, but I did it like this, so you need to do it like that. Everybody has their own way of dealing with it. It may not seem right to you, but it's all that they know. And so give them time and space and room to deal with it and to be able to heal. And the healing process for everyone is going to be different, and the healing time is going to be different. So don't judge anybody according to their healing process. Now, if you're the one that's going through and you were strong through it all and your family flicked out while you're going through it, don't go crazy on them while they're flicking out, right? Sometimes when people are flicking out, if you have it in you to be able to encourage, encourage. If you don't have it in you, sometimes you have to ask people to step back a little bit, because you don't need nobody flicking out all around you. You need to be able to have your space around you sound as much as possible, because you don't need nobody pouring anything in you that you don't need. No bad thoughts, no seeds of anything negative, right? But give everybody time and space to move. But just be aware that sometimes things can pop up later. Sometimes you can go through things for years and years and years, and you fight like a champion. You have ups and downs in it. And then there become a season where things are better. Things have stabilized and smooth out a lot more, and you find that emotions are a little different. You can be emotionally tired, physically tired, find your body going through changes because it finally gets to rest. It's been in that hyped up, tensed up mode, and now it gets to rest, and you're feeling all that you're going through. And it may be that you may not even know what's wrong with you, but it's really with the things that you have gone through. And you've got to be able to express that and release that. Remember to give everybody breaks, give everybody rest, and to allow people time and space to go through. And don't beat each other up, and don't beat yourself up if you find that it's been a while later and you're just now feeling it and you've got to go through your processes. Go ahead and go through your processes. There may be times you may just cry. There may be times you might find that you're pretty upset and angry. But even after, I've talked to you about rest a lot, after you've gone through something, especially if you've gone through for years or for a long time, you got to have a time to be able to rest, to be able to refresh yourself, to restore yourself, to heal and to rejuvenate, because you've been through a rough battle. Because I got to tell you something, the battles are going to keep coming. As long as you got breath in your life, life gives people battles. Forget chronic illness, just life is going to give you battles, right? And then you got chronic illness or a disease on top of that. So you need to rest, recuperate, and recover. I hope something in there was helpful for you. Remember, in all things, do you. Bye.